Wow, it's good to have you here this week, Denise McInerney. So good to have you here. Would you mind saying hello and tell us a little bit about what it is you do for your day job?
My day job, sure. So thanks for having me. It is Denise McInerney. I'm here in Mountain View, California, heart of Silicon Valley, so really happy to be joining you all across the country and maybe around the world. You have international viewers. So for my day job, I am a data architect. I work at a software company called Intuit. You may be familiar with Intuit. It's tax season, so if you've used TurboTax, thank you. And some others, QuickBooks, Mint.com. So that's what I do for my day job. And primarily I work on analytics systems, so I architect data systems to support the work of people who work with data. All the time. It's great. It's a great gig.
So how did you become involved in PASS? So the PASS business analytics, you're involved in that, and what's your role?
Right. So in PASS is a volunteer job, if you will, and currently my role is Vice President of Marketing, so I serve on the Board of Directors. I actually got involved with PASS back in 2002. I attended the PASS Summit, which is the first conference PASS put on, which is truly targeted toward DBAs and developers and architects, and I was hooked because it was a great opportunity to learn tons of great education and awesome networking. So back in the day when I was working at startups and I'd be the only DBA in the shop and you're looking for help, I had a network of people that I could turn to online, and then I'd see them at conferences, and that's how I got involved in PASS. And I started volunteering. PASS is a largely volunteer-run organization. We have over 100,000 members. I started volunteering, again, for the Summit Conference. I was on the program committee, and I helped choose the sessions and the speakers for that. And I volunteered in a number of areas for PASS. I founded the Women in Technology chapter. So I've been volunteering for 12 years now. Eventually, I got elected to the board of directors a few years ago. So, and I'm here tonight because PASS has grown beyond the initial world of SQL Server, the relational engine, as the data world has exploded. And in addition to the PASS Summit, we also have the PASS Business Analytics Conference, which is coming up next month, April 20th through 22nd, out here in California in Santa Clara. And we will have all three of our hosts here on Excel TV as speakers, along with a lot of other people. So that's why I'm here tonight, is to thank you all for all the support you've given for the conference so far, and talk to your viewers about what's going to happen there.
Then I'll pass this over to Oz real quick, but down there right beside your name, it gives the URL of the PASS BA conference, and it talks about a code, but it's a little hard to read the code. Would you mind talking about that a little bit? The
code is Excel TV, and if you register for the conference with the code Excel TV, you will get a $300 discount off the registration. So if you're thinking about going, encourage you to do that, and actually register before Monday because the price goes up. So you'll save an additional $150 if you register by Monday, plus the $300 discount with the Excel TV code.
Great.
Wow.
Thank you.
I know.
Think about that, Oz.
Well, I'm curious to know, somebody's sitting there at home thinking, should I go to PASS? Should I put my hat on and put the saddle on my horse and get it watered up and everything and go? Who should go?
Who should go? Anybody who works with data. So, I mean, we all know that every day data gets more and more important. More and more organizations are trying to figure out how to get value out of their data, and across departments in every organization, large and small, people are trying to wrangle their data. They're trying to find it, they're trying to make sense of it, they're trying to analyze it, they're trying to visualize it in a way that tells the story, and that's the kind of content that we're going to have at the BA conference. Those are the kinds of sessions we're going to have. So anyone who's trying to develop their skills, become a better analyst, or become a better finance person, or whatever it is they do to work with data, come to this conference and you're going to learn. You're going to go home with stuff you can use at your desk on Monday morning, and more than that, you're going to go home with a network. Just like my first PASS conference back in 2002, where I started building my network of all the DBAs that I now know, you'll meet people who have the same problems you do, who are trying to figure out the same kinds of things you're trying to figure out at your job, and you're going to be able to make connections with them. So anyone who wants to develop their own professional skills and their professional network and loves to work with data should come to the BA conference.
Right. So is there a level that would be too low? What if you are just starting with Excel, a SQL?
No, you should check out the list of sessions, but there will absolutely be content. If you're just getting started with Excel, there's going to be a bunch of Excel experts the three of you plus about 7 or 8 more that I can think of who will be giving sessions at a number of levels, and it's a great place to get that kind of content as well.
Right. Cool, cool. All right. Jordan?
Sure. So would you, looking back at these conferences that you've been to, would you think that what has changed about data over the last several years for you, and you're working, because, the Business Analytics Conference hasn't been around forever. Before that, you said there was DBA. What's different now, and also specifically different about this conference?
So I think what's different in the world is that data is no longer the province solely of the IT department. Data is no longer something that we simply keep and protect and store. Data is now something that needs to be liberated and democratized and used by every aspect of an organization, be that a business or a not-for-profit or a school. There's so much value that can be gotten out of data, but it has to be let loose, right? So that's what's changed in the world. And of course, big data has changed everything, right? Because now there's data being collected all the time, sensors and think Internet of Things and all the different ways that data, log data, web data. So just the sheer amount of data and the type of data that we can now access and analyze, that's all changed, right? So for PASS, what's changed is our mission's expanded, right? We've built a community of data professionals, probably the most passionate community of data professionals you will find anywhere, all built around the technologies that grew up around SQL Server, the original relational engine, right? But now it's so broad, right? And there's all of the business intelligence tools that are part of that Microsoft offering, and there's Excel, and there's so many different aspects to using data on the Microsoft stack that PASS has expanded its mission to meet that growing demand as well, right?
Cool, awesome.
Go ahead, Jordan.
So PASS, what does PASS stand for, if anything? Is it,
right.
How does the name come, because it's always capitalized, so I assume it's an acronym.
It was an acronym. So when PASS was founded back in the late 90s, it stood for the Professional Association for SQL Server.
Ooh.
And its mission was for professionals working with SQL Server. But as I was just describing, our mission has broadened so much. We're really there to be the professional association for anyone who works with Microsoft data technologies. And that is a very long list of technologies, right? If you look all the way from the top to the bottom. Too long for a name of an organization. But also, PASS means something to the people who have been part of PASS for 15 years. So we decided that rather than change the name, we would just start using the acronym as a name, right? So because it's well beyond SQL Server now.
Right.
One of the things I think. Go ahead.
So is this around Chris Webb's blog post about a name change? Is it related to that?
Yeah. So Chris blogged about the name change when we after we announced it last year. Yeah, after we announced it last year, I think Chris wrote a blog post about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and he had. It sounded like some people were upset about it, and he was saying that he agreed with it.
Yes, I do believe he agreed with it. I think he explained that it was part of the expanded mission, and I think people. I don't know if people were upset. I think people were asking the question: does this mean that SQL Server is no longer a part of what PASS does?
Okay.
And the answer is absolutely not. I always describe it as this is an and, not an or. Right? We are adding to the educational offerings, and we are adding to the technologies that we help people learn about. We're not dropping one to go to the other.
So I do want to go back a bit and ask about, we said that data needs to be liberated. It can no longer be controlled and housed and collected by IT. Is there some period in time where the cage door got open, and why does it matter?
So I think the cage door opened in different places sooner or later, right? I think some companies embrace this early, right? Companies that are really based on understanding their data in order to make every decision they make. A company like Facebook, right, or like Google, which is very data reliant. What was the other part of your question? Sorry. when did the cage door open, and
why does this matter? That it's not just somebody with their 20 contacts in 21 rows in Excel.
So I think it matters because by liberating the data, my term liberating the data or democratizing it, the people who understand the business side of things, whatever that business may be, now have access to the data to help them understand their business even better, right? Data in the abstract isn't worth anything, right? Data when applied to a problem is worth, it's invaluable, right? What can happen there? So right. I think that's why it matters.
Yeah. And one last question then, Rick. Can you define big data? Because there's so many different definitions, and maybe you even want to just define it for how you use it.
Well, there are a lot of definitions, and I think to some extent it doesn't matter, right? In the sense that what big data provides for us is the ability to store even larger amounts of data and in all sorts of structures. And that's why the big data technologies are important in and of themselves. But really what matters is what you do with that data. If your database is 10 gig, but your analysis of that database enables you to improve your revenue by 15%, who cares that it's only 10 gig, right? I can collect petabytes of data and not get any value out of it.
Right.
That's my non-traditional answer to the question.
Cool. Thank you, Denise. Could you talk a little bit about it seems like PASS kind of came out of nowhere this year related to Excel. It might be the first time that a lot of Excel people, a lot of Excel power users are getting involved and really understanding it. It seems like it's coming out of nowhere. Could you talk a little bit about the content, the Excel content and the Excel speakers, and kind of your push to have Excel as part of the conversation at the PASS conference?
Absolutely. So this year is the third Business Analytics Conference, but this year we also completely recast the program. So we took a look at the program the first couple of years. It was almost a beta release, right? We learned, we got feedback from people who attended, and we thought about what we're trying to do here. And what we realized is that the mission to bring content to people who work with data every day is to understand their journey. We call it the analyst journey, although they may not necessarily have analyst in their job title, but it's the journey of the analyst. So it's finding the data, it's integrating it, it's cleaning it up, it's analyzing it, it's visualizing it. And while there are many tools that provide those sorts of capabilities, and when we have sessions on a variety of them at the conference, you cannot argue with the huge reach of Excel and how it's on everybody's desktop, right? And it's a tool that so many business people are already comfortable with that when you enable it as a data analysis tool, they embrace it, right? So I should know the install base of Excel. It's enormous, hundreds of millions, right? Hundreds of millions of Excel users around the world. And so we recognized that Excel had to be an important component of the program, of the content. So we reached out to the experts. So we were fortunate enough to have Rob Colley from Power Pivot Pro help us, give us some advice on that content. He was part of the program committee. And then late last year, I had the opportunity to meet the three of you at a conference and talk to you all. And not only did you all agree to speak, but you helped us find other Excel experts to speak. And so now we have, I believe it's 10 or 12 Excel experts on the program. I don't think any Excel problems will be solved during the 3 days of the conference because you will all all of the problems will be solved at the conference in the Excel lounge, I'm sure.
And Chandu is coming.
Chandu, thank you. Yes, Chandu is coming. Rob Colley is coming. Avi Singh, the three of you. I should have all the rest of the names. Help me out, guys.
Zach Greasy just
Bill
said it today.
Himself, Mr. Excel. How can I forget? Right?
Oz and I were talking about this, a week or so ago, that, kind of one of the bad things about being a speaker at the conference, and I don't mean this as any offense, one of the bad things about being a speaker is that somebody else that I want to listen to will be speaking at the same time that I'm speaking.
Right.
I was going to hate if Chandu was speaking at the time I'm speaking, and there's like 3 people in there, and not all of them were related. Because I'm bringing Jordan and Oz. They're not going to like it. So, hats off to you for all the talent you've gotten this year. I was excited to even see this. Zach Parisi was added today, so it's kind of like Christmas going over to your website and seeing who gets added every week.
Oh, thank you. Well, we're excited too. Well, I know there have to be sessions opposite each other. We try really hard to not have conflicts, but I do want to add that all the sessions are going to be recorded. And so if you attend the conference, you have access to the session recordings. So it's not quite the same as in person. And I should mention too that I referred to it, but the Acceleration Lounge in the Expo Hall, which I believe all of the Excel speakers at one time or another are going to be in the Acceleration Lounge, so you can meet them one-on-one or in small groups and chat with them and ask your questions.
And what's going to happen in there?
You tell me. So it's a place to come and meet the Excel experts, ask individual Q&A, just meet people whose blogs you read or whose TV channels you watch on the web, and get some advice. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna be on the lookout for those index match people. They come around making trouble. So
don't start any fights though.
I'm not.
We don't need.
I'm not. They're the ones that start them. I'm the humble man that wants to sit down and have some sriracha and be mellowed out. And then the index match people show up with their malarkey.
I hear you, Oz. Uptown Funk, don't give it to you.
Not that.